Hi guys, welcome back, and today I want to sort of go through what happened to me last night. So as you notice that as we go through the years of ECA going on to Student Paramedic, lots of the beginning videos are very sort of like, I was able to put a patient into a vehicle, I was able to strap them in, I was able to do all these minor things. And as we go and progress through our career as an ECA and then going on as a student paramedic, these things seem less, more trivial in the way of not as an important as like a major job, for example. So for me, being able to at the beginning to get the Entonox out, for example, and be able to give it a patient at the Entonox was a big deal. Now, because we do it all the time, it's I'm not sort of poo-pooing it at all, but it's really important. But that's not as high up in my I've done something really important today as actually noticing someone who's actually having a heart attack. So I suppose what I'm saying is everything you do in this job is really important, and it may seem trivial to some to say that you've done X, Y and Z because they've done it so many times, but the person who's done it the first time is a big deal, and feel that way. It is a big deal. You've never done anything quite like that particular job before, never used that part of equipment before, never seen something before. It's a big deal, and then embrace that. Think this is a really good learning and I want to keep learning. And then as you continue along your career, you'll notice that you'll see again and again and again the same things, and it becomes a bit less like a big deal, which is quite sad, but that's the way it is. It's almost like first time you learn how to drive, all excitement. Oh my gosh, it's the first time I'm gonna get into a car, first time I'm gonna change gear, first time I'm braking, first time I'm getting past 10 miles an hour, first time I'm going a roundabout. But over the years, when we go into a car, it's like, oh, going into a car, I'm just going down the road and enjoying the drive, and it's not such much of a big deal. I think that's the sort of message I'm trying to give. So today my big deal was two things. Okay, well, last night I should say, my big deal was two things. I was able to put another cannula in. Yes. So I think it's either number 5 or number 6 attempt, and I'm 50-50 now, so 50% positive and 50% failed. And I was able to put it into a lady's ACF, which is this vein here. And I searched for the peripheral, on the hand. Very thin, very veiny, very thin veins, not really good for me personally to try and find. I looked on this side and I looked on the back side, and then I looked up here, and it was my my colleague, who was also a student paramedic from a different course, who noticed a tiny little ACF going on a sort of a diagonal, and I put a little cheeky pink in. Potentially should have put a green in, which is a little bit of a larger cannula, but it was fine. Now, my learning take on that was, what I should have done is, because I think with the excitement of actually I've got it in and I've got flashback, I didn't use one hand to try and push and pull back as, professionally all the paras do, and they look fantastic. I just put it in, pull it back, yeah, no problem. I was cat-handed, I was like holding with one and pulling the other one, pushing and pulling and pushing and pulling. So I mean, the patient was fine, she was all good and that, but I felt I was a bit cat-handed because I was using both my hands. When I eventually pulled out the cannula, what did I forget to do? I forgot to occlude the vein. So consequently, I pulled it out, and the blood ended up coming out of the back end of the cannula. And for a split second, I thought, why is she bleeding? What am I done? I don't understand. And my paramedic, the paramedic that was with me, very calmly and very nicely said, Freya, you just need to put the cap on. I thought, thank you. So I just put it back on again, and that was fine. But I didn't occlude it, and I didn't use my 2 hands. Now, again, I think that's down to confidence massively. That's down to experience massively. And it was a big deal for me. But, you know, I actually was able to get a cannula in. For those paras out there who've been doing it for donkey's years, and yeah, I could put it in, pull it out, no problem, fantastic. I just want to be there at some point, but at the moment, I'm not there yet. The other big deal that happened for me last night was that we went to a patient, and I'm not naming places, I'm not naming names because of confidentiality. But I will say is that this patient looked quite unwell and was sat on the toilet after losing the motions of their motions, and looked very, very sweaty, very hot, very red-faced and flushed. So my hackles are up already. I had a sort of a little bit of a twinge in my head. I thought, this looks interesting. Now, is it because they're sick, or and then apparently the patient was actually ill beforehand. So after a very quick, like, let's get you up from this area because the toilet area was quite small, and had the patient actually declined rapidly, we needed to be able to get him out. So they were able to take a few steps into the living room, which then we moved the big tables out the way, and just in case, you always prepare your area for eventuality because you never know what's going to come around the corner. So I had the patient sat on the sofa, and instantly I thought, right, let's put the ECG dots on. So just place it on there, go, do what you need to do. And as soon as the ECG came through, and I don't know if you can see this or not, there's no patient information on this. I don't know if you can see that. What do you think of this baby? Okay, I've written it down the bottom anyway, but that is an ST elevation. That's an inferior MI. They said it's a ventricle involvement right-sided. Okay, now I didn't really know what to look for. All I knew was that bit there with the ST elevating does not look good. And that's the thing I picked up on. Now, a student that was with me looked at the monitor before even this was printed out, and they were saying, hey, we got ST elevation. I thought, oh my gosh, yes. So again, we were all on the same page. We knew that this patient was having a cardiac arrest. The patient was very, very wet, very sticky, very clammy. They were sweating. Their partner was in the house. Obviously very concerned. So after quick further ops, I mean, we're talking about very quickly, within a minute or two, we shipped them onto a stretcher and straight down to the hospital. We went to the cath lab, so we went to the cardiac unit, and we saw them perform an angiogram. And I think it's called an angiogram. Please, if I've said that wrong, please make a comment and say, actually, Freya, you got that wrong again. So the patient was placed in sedation, and a tube was run up inside of the wrist into the artery, into the heart, and we were allowed to watch the procedure of the left side and the right side had dye being put into it, how the dye was pumped around the heart, so you can make sure that it was touching all the main arteries and veins and things. So it was a lovely little spiderweb effect. However, on the other side, there was nothing. It was completely blocked, and that was on the right side of the heart. And we were there 20 minutes watching with absolute fascination as a consultant ended up putting stents in and then putting through the dye again, so we can actually see as it's going through with the video and the camera and the X-ray, the heart actually then showing the blockages being unblocked by the balloons, the stents. And then watching on the monitor where the patient was an ST elevation, it then dropped about, not normal, but it was coming down. And every time they used to block the balloon again to occlude the artery or the veins or whatever they were using, the ST would increase again. So because it's under pressure again. However, from what I understand, the patient is well, and will only spend a little time in the hospital and then be returned home again. So that was really an amazing experience, from seeing a patient firsthand in their home address right up to the point where they're treated. It's not often you get to be allowed to watch something like that, but if you are allowed, obviously just ask and make sure that you're quiet and you sit behind the operators and just watch, and if you're allowed to ask questions, then ask questions, but obviously let them do their job as well. But that really made me think, oh, I really need to know my ECGs. Oh my gosh, I am so bad with my ECGs, but I'm so pleased I picked that up. So yeah, so 2 wins. And how am I feeling at the moment? So at the end of this month, I'm starting my 3rd year, probably changing cohorts because of my sickness and everything. Yeah, it's gone another year, isn't it? So, wherever I'm going to be, whether I'm going to be in Bridgewater, if I'm going to be back at St Leonard's, I don't know. But I saw a few more ECAs at St Leonard's a couple of days ago. So hi guys, well done for joining up the ECA course. Glad your driving's okay, and good luck with your studies, and I hope to see you all on the road very soon. All right, so take care, stay safe, and talk to you later. Bye bye for now.